Ceremony on field before the game. Rachel Daly, her 100th regular season appearance last week. She celebrated that with a goal. She's added one more tonight. Congratulations, Rachel Daly. And Kaylin, she became the 8th player in league history to score on her 100th appearance.
Yeah, and she's one of my favorite in the league, not only because she puts the ball into the back of the net, she's so fun to watch, and then she's just a character as well. She doesn't take losing easily. She gets stuck into challenges. She's just such a dynamic player and just a huge, bright future, and already a huge, resume. I mean, her resume speaks for itself. I'm lost for words with her, basically. She's my girl crush in the NWSL.
Now, played at St. John's, has really become the face of the franchise with Houston Dash, and as you mentioned, a big send-off. You have a 100th appearance last week. Special armband tonight, another spectacular goal, and she'll join England after tonight's appearance. We saw Amanda Cromwell speaking with Monefusco there. We mentioned the 3 changes to the back line. What would you like to see change for Orlando here in the second half?
I think just mindset. I think you saw that first 15 minutes. They actually didn't look quite that bad. They had numerous opportunities, good opportunities, specifically with Sydney Leroux. But it was at the opportunities where they almost made it look a little bit ugly. And it's just been mental switch-offs in that back line, which we were kind of expecting that with that many changes in that back four. But for me, this is going to be won or lost, or if they can claw their way back into it with the midfield of Orlando Pride. Just didn't see them enough on the ball, and defensively not kind of making it a difficult game for Houston. Houston's midfield just being able to pick out those passes.
I agree with you, Kaylin. Until the opener from Prince, it was a pretty even game at 0-0. But then once Houston got one, it just opened up the avalanche. Good composure from Schmidt. Vigiano against her former team. Sanchez. Cleared out for a throw-in. Deep throw-in for Houston Dash. 2 for Prince, 1 for Daly. And a 3-0 halftime lead. Villacorta. Courtney Peterson has entered. Given a rest to start the game, she's a halftime substitute for Amanda Cromwell. She entered for Tony Presley, the other halftime change. Ghanaian's daughter is taken off, and she's replaced by Julie Doyle. So a double change at halftime for Amanda Cromwell. Maria Sanchez in front of Groom. Daly makes the run central. Prince to the near post. Shea Groom kept it alive. It's Prince again on a hat trick. She has a hat trick. Groom down behind the play, so the celebrations will be held. But Nichelle Prince, her 3rd of the night.
And I was just about to touch on the substitutes from Orlando. Interesting ones for me, because I actually didn't think those two had a bad first 45 minutes performance. But look at the players in the box. Look at the midfield, the late run. It's a sloppy clearance again, but no one tracking those runners. Midfield has to pop to Nichelle Prince quicker here. She's so dangerous in tight areas. But how about this from Nichelle Prince? I mean, ball on the ground, whether it's the right-hand side, the left-hand side, the cheek here, even just to nod this one up and over the goalkeeper. 3rd goal of the night, hat trick. And an absolute golazo to start the second 45 minutes with.
You mentioned it, Kaylin, the new swagger for her. I mean, she's always had it, but just, you think in the last, what, 6 to 12 months, a different confidence for Nichelle Prince?
I think it's been the gold medal put around her net at the Summer Olympics. I mean, I think when you have a manager that has that belief in you and continues to give you those starts, even when you do make those mistakes, it adds to a striker. You need to be able to make those mistakes, miss those clear and obvious opportunities, but know, hey, I'm not going to get dropped to the bench if I try to do a little cheeky shot like this and it doesn't come off. And then the more time you get, the more 90-minute performances you get, and the more ability to play with a strikers like a Rachel Daly or a Sanchez, you just get naturally better.
It's the first hat trick in Houston Dash history. History made by Nichelle Prince. Sanchez has won it back, and these are the moments that Houston have thrived upon tonight. Turnovers in midfield, and then it's been off to the races.
You can see Orlando with those changes have kind of trying to drop midfielders in a little bit deeper to create a back three and allowed those fullbacks to get higher and wider just to push Houston back a little bit. But 4-0 down in 50 minutes, this is a huge mental task for Orlando. Not a mountain to climb anymore. That mental ability to be like, we need to get one, then we need to get two. It's very difficult. 2-0 down, that's an easy scoreline to come back. 4-0 down, very difficult.
And result aside, I'm sure Coach Cromwell, her staff, and the veteran players just want to see the fight. They may not score 4 tonight, but they want to go down with the best fight possible. Deep throw in here for Orlando Pride. Pruitt throws it in. Onafusco with Peterson. Better from Orlando. Villacorta. Chapman covered well. Just feels like there's not enough pressure on the ball. When Houston wins it in midfield, their midfielders, in that moment, Sanchez can pick her head up and look for that long switching ball. Groom leaves it for Daly. Prince another run. Hansen's arriving. Hansen seals off Peterson. Sophie Schmidt. Ali Prysock. Schmidt again. 3 goals for Nichelle Prince, the first hat trick in Houston Dash history. Rachel Daly, another goal. Haley Hansen for Houston. Targeting Daly. Onafusco wins the header. Listro now playing right back for Orlando Pride after those halftime changes. LaRue draws a foul from Prysock. Groom commits the foul. Could be a booking here for Shea Groom against Clough. Deeper role as of late for Michaela Clough, more of a number 10 at BYU in college. Some time at that defensive midfield position in her first pro year with Orlando Pride. Still scoring goals, had the first goal against Washington in the late comeback last week. Jenkins. Trying to get the return ball from Pruitt, well defended by Houston, and now there's space for the Dash to operate. Shea Groom. Schmidt, intended for Prince, won by Villacorta. Sydney Leroux for Orlando, has 3 runners central. Leroux working on Prysock, centers it, cleared by Naughton. Cross from the end line, Campbell gets hands to it, punches away, now it's Sanchez. For Daly. Viggiano makes the run, here comes Prince. Well won by Peterson. Very open portion of this game, Kalen. Courtney Peterson. That's a good ball. It's headed off the post. So close from Leroux. Second chance deflected and wide.
You can see Sydney Leroux with the straight thumbs up to Courtney Peterson. It's a fabulous ball put into the box, into a dangerous area, spinning perfectly. This is the kind of service that you want, that spinning away from the goalkeeper in behind this back line. And Sydney Leroux doing a fantastic job being able to redirect this one on target. Just goes off the post here, and then another good opportunity in a good space. Takes that extra little touch and a fabulous save from Campbell.
Leroux had a good chance in the first half, saved by Campbell from a tough angle. That time header off the post, off Courtney Peterson's delivery. Header here from Orlando in the second half. Cross to Heavy. Goal kick to Houston. Delivery came from Carriabello on that left side. And to Cromwell. Great staff. Sam Green, 9 years with her at UCLA. Seb Hines, former MLS player, assistant coach for the last 3 coaching staffs at Orlando. And then the most famous, Michelle Akers, was a player development coach with this Orlando side. Courtney Peterson, halftime substitute for Orlando. Into the channel for Leroux. Shoulder to shoulder with Prysock. Here's Sydney Leroux. Eyes for that upper corner.
I love this with Sydney Leroux. You can just tell that, hey, it wasn't a good 50-minute performance. Actually, take that first 15 minutes out because they didn't look too bad, but Sydney Leroux just has that bit between her teeth at the moment. Just look at her, how she bodies this first player off, then just controls this and says, I'm going to have a go. I'm going to try to make something out of nothing. It's fabulous work from Sydney Leroux. 3 good opportunities from her in this match so far.
Restart coming from Jane Campbell. Prince settling it. Peterson's pinched in. She's come on at center back, it looks like, next to Montefusco. Prysock slides over in front of Leroux. Groom first time for Viggiano. Schmidt back for Groom. That's excellent from Houston. Groom tried to thread the needle to Rachel Daly. Well defended by Orlando. Free kick. Won by Groom. Foul by Listro. Sarah Laudo will make a change now. Rivazali will enter for Marissa Viggiano. So managing Viggiano's minutes. She had an injury, came off the bench last week. Assess her performance in a starting role against her former team.
Yeah, I think she was fantastic. I think this midfield just works. I think Houston just works under new management. I mean, the ability, this back line's been fabulous. The midfield has been so fluid, the rotation of them. Sophie Schmidt looks like a completely different player, and I think it's because you have a player like Vigiano that balances that a little bit. It gives the freedom to Shea Groom, and then also this front three, just the ability for Rachel Daly to pop into the midfield to create that four and create the overload. It's been fantastic from Houston. A flawless performance thus far.
Rizali on, here's the restart. It's another good service, and it's headed off the goal frame. Wonderful delivery. Schmidt so close to a fifth for Houston. Now it's Sanchez firing wide. A night of service for the Houston Dash.
This is a great, another fabulous service into the box. Sloppy defending. You can just see Sophie Schmidt just pulling off of that shoulder, slowing up her run. There's absolutely no one contesting her. Goes off the woodwork. Devastated she doesn't get this one into the back of the net. You can just see it in her face. Because another player that's had a fabulous performance here.
Clough pushing forward. LaRue to her left. Jenkins to her right. Trying to get something back for Orlando. Schmidt had the goal at Portland 2 weeks ago. That would have been her second in 3 games. Good overlap here. Better from Orlando. 4 committed to the box. Good dribbling. There's a low cross. And nice read by Prysock. She went to the spot to clear it. Abello. Good push here. Vasali tracking back defensively. Good work from Vasali. Earns a free kick against Jenkins. Jenkins 90+8 last week, latest goal in NWSL history. The equalizer against Washington for a 2-2 draw. Campbell to restart. Yellow card given to Jane Campbell. The next Orlando Pride home game is Sunday, July 3rd versus Louisville. Go to orlandocitysc.com/tickets/pride and purchase your tickets today. Campbell restarts. Back to the corner, foot race for Naughton. Here comes a change for Orlando. Kylie Strom will enter. Abello has departed. Second year with Orlando for Kylie Strom. Good step from Schmidt. Not too long for Daly. So, Kaylin Kyle, it's still early days in the season, but you feel like the building blocks are here for Houston under Sarah Loudon and this roster to really make a run in the NWSL this regular season?
They need to give Loudon a full-time contract. I think this team just looks like a completely revamped team, and it's still the same players. They just look like they have the ability to have a little bit more freedom, have a little bit more personality, and just confidence oozing out of them.
You know, you might appreciate, having said that, we spoke with her a few weeks ago after the Portland game. The message for her to her team was STS, screw the system. They were going to a back three. She told her players, don't worry about the system, just go play. Win your 1v1 battle, and they beat Portland 2-0 that day.
Well, and you're seeing it already out here, just rotation, but then it's also the work ethic. So yeah, maybe screw the system, but also look at the work rate of them getting back defensively. They're all filling in the most dangerous team parts, and it doesn't matter if it's their role, but they're making those recovery runs, which is making them successful. So yeah, for me, give her the managerial job because she's fully deserving of it.
Sanchez all the way back with Katie Naughton. Here's Campbell. Look at that touch for Daly, which came from an offside position. It's the first hat trick for Nichelle Prince at club level. She does have one at international level for Canada, and actually came at PNC Stadium on this very field back in 2016. Canada in Olympic qualifying 6 years ago against Guatemala. Sanchez will throw it in. And the tough thing for Orlando tonight, Kaylin, is this is a Houston team that's electric on the break. We saw it last week against North Carolina. We spoke with Amanda Cromwell about it. And how do you slow down a team like Houston on the break? Her words were basically keep them wide, deny service, close down the space, and a lot of those things just didn't happen to make this a 4-0 game. Here, Orlando looking for that first goal, and it's cleared by Naughton.
Oh, I think tactically, keep them wide. That's where they're dangerous. That's where they've set up. So that tactical plan was wrong from the get-go. I mean, they dropped into 3 in the back, had wingbacks on the pitch, so their success was from wide areas, playing centrally, rolling it wide, creating overloads, and then good service from those wide areas, or playing back into those late midfield runs.
There is also just that wrinkle shown by Houston when they went to Portland. They played a 3-back. The opposing coaches now are wondering, are they going to come out in a 3-back system, in a 4-back? It really gives the opposition something extra to think about heading into a game like tonight's. Cross from the end line. LaRue runs it down. Peterson on the overlap. Peterson's cross. Flicked on, settled and cleared. At Shea Groom all the way back in her own 6-yard box to settle a long cross and clear away. Clough back for Listro. Clearance from Sanchez. It's Prince, 1v1, Groom to her right, Nichelle Prince. Tried to find Groom, Daly loose ball, and her shot is right at McLeod.
I love this from Nichelle Prince. She's on a hat trick already, and she could have gone 1v1. She has the ability to do this, tries to find that late run of Shea Groom, just doesn't come off, but just the player that she is, just being unselfish, it's outstanding.
We've seen it all night, Kaylin. The willingness of runs and the willingness of the teammates to find those runs. Every time Prince, Daly, Groom, Sanchez have made the runs, the midfielder or whoever is on the ball has found them. In that case, it was Groom making the run. Prince passed the ball. Chapman back for Campbell. Hanson pressuring. Free kick Orlando. Kylie Strawn back to her feet after this challenge.
Yeah, it's the correct call. She takes a great first touch and then just tries to knock this one on the outside of the foot, collects the foul.
LaRue Central knocked down. Clough pushing forward here against Vazali. Kayla Clough, clip to the corner, kept in play. Here's the cross, headed out. Good work. That's Hansen pinching in from a right back position to head away. Daly into a tackle. 4-0, no problem. She's doing the defensive work as well. Another change for Sarah Loudon and Houston. Elizabeth Eddy will enter, veteran of the league. And the night is over for Maria Sanchez. Kaylin, give us a feeling on the performance tonight from Maria Sanchez.
Loved her. So happy she's in Houston. I think she adds so much to this side. I think all three front runners for Houston just add a different dynamic, but then also the same dynamic. They're all on the same page. They know exactly where each other are. And the more games they all play together up top, they're going to even be more lethal within this league as that confidence grows.
Montefiusco across the back with Listro. It's another win from Shea Groom. Shea Groom has won the ball around that center circle time and again tonight. Vazali. Space for Chapman. Chapman to the corner. Out comes McLeod. Courtney Peterson. Clough towards the corner, won by Chapman. Help from Eddy. Now it's Groom. Vazali asking for it. Pruitt. Ally is proud to support this presentation of the National Women's Soccer League. Ally, do it right. Possibilities here. Good recovery run, Brie Vazali. You mentioned it time and again, Kaylin, the work rate from this group. You mentioned under Sarah Loudon, just more free. And that's not a freedom just to attack. It's a freedom to be willing to fight for your teammates on the defensive end as well.
That comes from confidence as well when you do have a manager that believes in you and instills that in you and gives you the freedom to be creative on the pitch. Your willingness to work harder off the ball just naturally comes alive.
Kylie Strom, second half sub. Central. Here's Vazali. Space for Prince, the hat trick hero tonight. There's Daly. Good ball movement all the way to the left side. Eddie tried to run onto it. Good turn of pace. Naughton into a challenge. Referee had a good view and it's cleared by Prysock. Anharad James will return. Nice to see her back. She had an ankle injury which kept her out for a few games. That's it for Leah Pruitt. Another change. Roberts enters. Parker Roberts also coming back from an ankle injury. You mentioned it, Kaylin. Orlando has dealt with the injury bug early this season, and she comes on for Michaela Clough.
Yeah, it's been difficult early on in the season for Orlando, but it shouldn't take the work rate of players away. You look at Sydney Leroux still fighting in the 75th minute, down 4-0. Need to see a little bit more bite from more players on this team, even though considering they do have a lot of these injuries and, you know, the COVID protocols.
Throwing far side. Eddie across the back with Prysock. Haley Hansen for Houston. Masali has found the space. Houston invited the pressure. Naughton will dribble out of there. Into Daly. Daly faces up. Very high line from Orlando, right at midfield. That's excellent. Hansen with Vasali. Here's Nichelle Prince, her first club hat trick. We mentioned it. She has one at international level for Canada. Her first club hat trick and the first hat trick in Houston Dash history. Plus a goal from Rachel Daly. Comprehensive showing tonight from Houston. For Orlando, is this a game where Cromwell will say, let's put the tape away, let's move on to the next one, or will she go back and say there's some lessons to be learned tonight?
No, they have to learn lessons from this. I mean, when you've gotten 16 goals, if this score holds on you already in the season, it's not good enough defensively. You have to work on your defensive shape and then your attacking shape, because you can't be conceding this many goals in a game. If you concede that many goals in a game, you're not winning many games as the season wears on.
The 2 goals per game streak might be coming to an end as well. 4 straight with 2+ goals. Held scoreless so far tonight by Jane Campbell in the dash. There's a good turn from Prince. Into Shea Groom. A really good understanding developing in the front 4 for Houston. Sanchez has been subbed off, but Sanchez, Groom, Prince, and Daly, a lot of experience between that front 4. And learning tendencies here in 2022 for the Houston Dash. It's on here on this left side. Good block. Hansen getting down to deny that service.
And look,
here in the 79th minute.
You're 4-0 up and you're still making tackles like that. I mean, this Houston side just looks like they just have some energy that's been boosted in them, and I feel like this is what this team has been crying out for, because they've had good players in this squad. They've had some world-class players, and now you're really starting to see it come alive from that front line to the midfield to the back line and even goalkeeping.
Low cross, good cover on the backside and clear it. Good turn, Prince. dispossessed. Possibilities here for Orlando. Eddie sliding over in a good spot. Great from Eddie, just taking it to the sideline. A few shoulder drops, and she earns a foul. Double change coming here for the Houston Dash. And let's hear the home crowd serenade Nichelle Prince after the first hat trick in Houston Dash history.
I mean, I could talk about her all day long, obviously, because she's Canadian, but she's just, for me, I think the most exciting thing about Nichelle Prince is she was already good, but she's revamped her game to make her great. She's been fantastic with the national team and has led to a lot of their success. And then you look at her with Houston, and just like the ability to play with this front three, Rachel Daly, Sanchez, and just the confidence that she's oozing. I mean, all three goals very different today. I mean, the ability just to put her foot on the ball and say, you know what, I see three other people in the 18-yard box, but I'm going to have a go. And it's players like this, that Rachel Daly, that she's learning from.
Michelle Alozie comes on, along with Joelle Anderson. Hansen and Prince depart for the Houston Dash. Alozie is in. Alozie on goal to make it 5, just wide. Great strength from Alozie on the shoulder-to-shoulder challenge.
It's a good win. It's this midfield battle that we talked about. Orlando Pride, we haven't called any of the midfield name, but coming onto the pitch, making herself known here. She gets the power behind. This is well done from Maren McLeod. She's made a couple mistakes in that first 45 minutes, but she times this one perfectly, comes off her line with that speed, with that power and the pace, just to give enough in for that striker that puts this one past that far post.
Joelle Anderson, by the way, a regular season debut for Houston Dash. It was a good forward ball from Emily Ogle, who came off the bench earlier to put in Michelle Alozie. "82 minutes gone. Houston 4, Orlando nothing. Nichelle Prince 3 goals, 1 from Rachel Daly. Dominant showing from Houston. Free kick to Orlando. They play it quickly. They're back into the offensive third. It's Daly to watch it out for a goal kick.
And that recovery run, Rachel Daly inside her own 18-yard box, just seeing this one out, and look at her just clapping at her teammates like, let's keep going, let's push on this, let's keep a clean sheet, let's keep building on this 4-game momentum streak, let's make it 5.
Kayla, the other side of this is the defensive team effort and the defensive organization as it's headed straight in the air. Here comes Jane Campbell. You have a great goalkeeper in Campbell. You've talked about the work rate all night, but tonight, if Houston keeps the clean sheet, it'll be 3 goals against in 6 games, extending the best ever defensive record. You defend well, and then you have Prince, Daly, Groom, Sanchez and company on the break. It's a good formula.
It's just that point that I was making with Orlando Pride, that they need to work on their defensive issues before they can move their issues into that attacking side of things, because if you get that many goals scored on you in a match, you're not going to win too many. So Houston proving that point completely. I mean, now 10 goals on the season and only 3 goals against. Fabulous. I think this is, again, if this score holds, this is the most complete performance that I've seen from front to back from Houston side. Even players coming off the bench. I mean, you look at moments just earlier, just missing that one wide, a player coming off the bench and not changing a momentum of a game or changing the tempo of a match.
Free kick coming. Rachel Daly will restart. 3 straight games to the goal for Rachel Daly. Great send-off for her before she joins England. Into a good spot. McLeod comes. She bobbles. Whistle blown. McLeod checked on by her teammates. McLeod, as tough as they come, Caitlin, as you know, three ACL tears McLeod has overcome in her career. Still going strong, leading this back line for Orlando. And you said work to do for Orlando now defensively in training next week and moving forward. Look at Daly acting as a right back. Leading by example on the field. Here's Shea Groom in space. Alozie holds her run to stay onside. Alozie is in. Alozie to make it 5, and she has! Michelle Alozie, a well-timed run. A perfect ball from Groom, and reasons for celebration in Houston.
Delighted for Alozie on this. She does all the hard work. She could have gone to ground like any other striker in the world would have gone and picked up the foul. But this all starts Rachel Daly making that recovery run down that right-hand side, playing as a fullback, winning the ball, finding Shea Groom in the midfield. But look at the timing of Alozie on that inside shoulder of the defender. Holds off that foul. Again, could have gone to ground to try to pick up a foul, decided to stay on her feet. This is a great heads-up play. And then just the calmness and the precision just to slide this one near post past Erin McLeod. A fabulous finish and missing an opportunity just moments earlier in the same spot. Absolutely fantastic for a player coming off the bench and just touching on those moments of not changing the tempo, adding to the tempo.
First NWSL goal for Michelle Alozie.
That won't be her last either.
Yeah, great for a striker to have a short-term memory, Caitlin, as you know. Not getting down after the goalkeeper makes a nice play.
And it comes to that confidence we touched on when you have a manager that instills confidence in you. I mean, first minute on the pitch, first touch, good goal-scoring opportunity, missed it, didn't keep her head down, worked so hard for that goal, and then just had the confidence to say, I'm going to take a little bit of the power off of it, I'm going to take the pace off of it, and I'm going to go for precision this time. That's exactly what she did and got herself a beautiful goal.
It's Doyle. Daly sticking with Doyle. Back for Julie Doyle, low cross. Hopeful for Orlando. And a goal kick to Houston.
But that picture right there, if we could just screen grab that. 88th minute, you're up 5-0 against Orlando at home, and you have 9 players behind the ball inside that 18-yard box. The work rate and the mentality of this Houston Dash side is frightening in this game tonight.
That was Kylie Strom with the chance on the low delivery around the penalty spot. Clearance from Prysock. Daly in position for her, Jane Campbell, I should say, her second shutout of the season, 18th of her NWSL career. LaRue running the channel. Prysock out to defend. Off the corner flag, gets a throw in to Orlando Pride. LaRue. Good cross over everybody. Inviting nonetheless. Clearance from Elizabeth Eddy. 3 minutes of stoppage time in the second half, presented by Verizon. Is there anything you can pinpoint with Orlando's defensive record? Is it shape? Is it work rate? Is it organization? Is it all of the above?
I think it's all of the above. They look a little bit lost. They look like the structure, they don't know what kind of structure they're playing. And then tactically, I think they came out wrong in a game like this and then tried to switch going with 5 at the back with playing with wing backs, and it just didn't work. Midfield look a little bit lost. And you can go down to, yes, player injuries, but sometimes you can't use that as an excuse when you do get 5 goals scored on you in an NWSL match. Players have to step up.
Pulled wide again, it's Daly.
Because quite frankly, they started the game quite well. First 15 minutes in, had 2 really good opportunities. Sydney Leroux's had 3 really good opportunities as well. So they've had passages of play where it's been good, but that consistent 90-minute performance just hasn't been there in the last few matches. But then kind of shocked us last game in the last dying seconds of the game, went to go tie it up. So I think if they can get a little bit more consistent throughout a 90-minute, they'll look like a different team. But right now, just look a little bit lost on the pitch.
A lot of experience departed from the back line in the offseason. Allie Riley among them. It was a pretty veteran group, but with expansion and trades and other sorts of things, it's a new group in the back for Orlando. Here is Shea Groom off to the right. Flag is down, no offside. Nearly a half dozen for Houston. She curled her run and tried to stay onside. So close for Houston. This came from Groom.
And this is Groom, again, pulling the strings. You can see her here just offside as it comes off the foot. She knows she's offside. She tries to arc that run to get back onside, but it's a brilliant ball from Shea Groom.
Groom has not stopped her work rate tonight, even at 5-0. Alozi with the turn. Full time in Houston. Another space race and full orbit for Houston Dash. First hat trick in Houston Dash history. First hat trick at club level for Nichelle Prince. And Kaylin Kyle, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think for Houston Dash, I mean, we can talk about Nichelle Prince all day long. She got the job done, but the team did. That was a complete team performance from start to finish. Even when they were under the caution that first 15 minutes from Orlando Pride, defensively, they continued to be compact. Offensively, getting the job done. Players coming off the bench, putting the ball into the back of the net. Good goalkeeping as well. I mean, you can see the smiles on the faces of these players. They just look like a new Houston Dash side because they've all had these same players within the squad, but they have a little bit more freedom to do what they like, bring their individual skill out, but then also work collectively still as a team, doing the hard defensive work. Rachel Daly making 60-yard recovery runs in the 88th minute when you're 5-0 up. Outstanding from Houston Dash.